Hello and greetings to you wherever you may be on this beautiful planet of which is our home, the third rock from the sun. My name is Anthony Altman, and today is the 9th of July 2024, and this video is number 82 that I have done over the years. I don't know why I'm counting them. I think it's because I require to remind myself, because it's really remarkable that I have made 81 videos, and this is the 82nd one. I just don't understand how I did that. And it seems I'm on a roll at the moment, and I'm just flowing with it. Today, the title of this video is What More I Know About Consciousness. I have made a few videos of consciousness, and I am talking about consciousness in just about every video that I make. And it is a subject that requires of me, that demands me to develop as far as I am able while I'm yet in this third-dimensional physical form, because I am convinced that the way for me to transcend this third-dimensional reality and move on in my progress of evolution, my evolutionary process, I am to develop more consciousness. Now, the more I research, develop, experience consciousness, I realize that all the terminology I have been using thus far, it does not really describe it very well or do it justice. However, I'm going to start this talk with a little bit of an interesting story. Two things. The first thing is the virtual background behind me. And it's amazing how I'm able to do this with the aid of technology. I mean, it's just amazing. And when I move my hand around and I move, because I think my camera, it's a Logitech camera, but it's old and it just cannot keep up with the movements, and it's not fast enough. So it distorts things, and I'll change that. And my lighting is not so bad, although today it looks pretty good. The image that I chose is a tuning fork, which is behind me, concealed by my body. So I'll just lean over so you'll see the tuning fork. So there is a tuning fork, and when you tap the tuning fork, it emits a sound like a pebble in water, these concentric circles of sound. And what you see is a virtual expression of the frequency that the tuning fork is emitting. Now, it's in the middle of the summer, and I wear very cool clothing, not really a shirt which is not really appropriate to make a video like this. So I thought I'm going to change my shirt and look a little bit more respectable. And as I'm looking at my shirts, my inner guidance said, choose the purple shirt, this one. And I said, you know what? I've worn that. I'll wear the green one. At this particular time, I did not know what virtual background I was going to have. I'll wear the green one. So I put the green shirt on, and then I looked at this image, and it seemed to be the best of what I've got. Although there's another one with a sine wave, but I like this one. And as I'm sitting here in front of the camera with my green shirt and the purple background. I thought, no, it doesn't look very good. So I went and changed my shirt and put on the purple one. What I'm trying to say is that I already had the intuition to wear the purple shirt from the beginning, and I chose to ignore my intuition because intuition is a very gentle, quiet voice. So I'm saying this to suggest to everybody, pay more attention to your intuition. The next interesting story I want to tell you is that at about 20 past 10 a.m., 2 hours and 20 minutes ago, I decided to meditate. And I sat down, burned some sandalwood incense, turned the lighting very down, quiet, and I went into a meditation. And the meditation took me so deeply. I mean, really deep. And after 20 minutes, the 25 minutes, 30 minutes, I can't even tell, I surfaced and decided that I would come out of the meditation. And because I had been so deep, I was almost incapable of standing up. So I thought, I'll just lie down and rest and just allow myself time to come out of the meditation, which is really the best thing to do under those circumstances. So I allowed myself a further 20 minutes of just resting, allowing myself to surface. And then I got up, started some activity, started to cook the lunch, and 2 hours later, approximately, a little bit less, I'm still experiencing that depth of meditation. Not as deep, but it's still there. Now, prior to this, prior to me meditating, I was dwelling upon consciousness and wondering how, what it is more, is how can I understand it more? How can I share it? How can I develop more of it within myself? And I decided to go on YouTube, and I listened to Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the incredible book, The Power of Now. And he had a lot to say, 17 minutes of describing consciousness. I really enjoyed that. And then I watched a video with Sadhguru. I don't agree with everything he says, but he was talking about consciousness with a slightly different angle. And I really liked what he had to say. And prior to all this, I've listened to other people. And it inspired me. Excuse me. It's summertime. The midges, these ants, which I think we've managed to get rid of, mosquitoes, they love me. And every now and then I have to scratch an itch and what have you. This is a humid summer in Israel. When I was in India, where it is more humid and hotter, 45 degrees Celsius and 99% humidity where I was living, it was 100 times worse. So I'm grateful for what I am experiencing here. So I am inspired to share with you more about consciousness, what I know about consciousness. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, if I know anything, it is that the basis of our perception, the basis of our knowledge, the basis of our health, whether it's mental, psychological, subconscious, mind, physical body, feelings, are all structured in consciousness. The ability for our critical thinking is also structured in consciousness. Everything is structured in consciousness. The ability to understand, the ability to speak cogently, the ability to learn, the ability to remember, the ability to develop one's potential, all structured in consciousness. And yet, consciousness is that element, if I could call it an element, which it's not, but language has its limitations, but I'm sure you understand, is that one element, consciousness is that one element that is neglected, ignored more than anything else in our world by more people. Most people are not interested. Most people don't know what it is. And sadly, of those people, most of them are not even interested in knowing what it is. All they want to do is have a lovely life with their family, which is nothing wrong with that, make lots of money, be successful, develop the ego and what have you. And guess what? All that is structured in consciousness. Excuse me for being intense. I really want to make a point. Everything in your life, in my life, is structured in consciousness. So do you not think the politics, knowledge of medicine, even taking medicine, listening to your intuition, it's all consciousness. And if anybody is experiencing a very low level of consciousness, there is one thing that is assured: they're going to suffer one way or another, sooner or later, throughout the spectrum of living their lives. Oops. Excuse me, I just had to pause the video for a while because my neck just went out. I have a condition, a physical condition, that I have not yet healed, although it is improving, getting better slowly. It started around 2001, so this is 23 years, where my vertebrae, cervical, thorax, and lumbar, and the pelvis go out. The pelvis rotates, displaces itself, and I've had to learn how to fix that from time to time, which is usually 20 times a day. It causes a great deal of pain. Excuse me. And this is part of the karma, I believe, that I'm resolving and working through. And I feel it has something to do with what's in my subconscious mind, some kind of psychological issue. I have a feeling I know what it is, but I have not yet been able to heal it, but I'm still working on it. So consciousness, and the more consciousness I develop, the better this condition is. It's improving. It definitely is improving, definitely. 10 years ago, I was a sorry state, even a few years ago. And now it's not so bad. I'm not in so much pain. I was in pain every day. To some degree, I still am, but it's much better. We all have our issues, and the idea is to develop more consciousness in order to help improve and resolve these issues. So let me get my train of thought back. So I'm inspired to talk about consciousness. And I have written what I believe, and I've mentioned this a few times in various of my videos. I've written a nice piece describing, as well as I can, what consciousness is and what it is not, and it's on my website, anthonyaltman.net, and you can see the website address, the name, down below in the synopsis. And it's on the health and wellness page. And I really recommend and urge anybody who doesn't know what consciousness is to read that. And it may take a few readings, because to try and understand, to describe the indescribable, to understand the indescribable, it's very, very difficult. Now, this is what I am beginning to realize, in addition to everything that I've said about consciousness, which is all true to some degree, and what I've written, all true to some degree. But here is something more different. You cannot develop consciousness. And it's not even innate within you or me. And the reason you cannot develop consciousness is because you cannot develop that which is already there. Number one. Number two, consciousness is a field of energy. Science calls it the quantum field of all possibilities, the quantum field, the morphogenic field. I can't remember. Quantum something field. And it just is. And we, as human beings, are consciousness. The computer is consciousness. The stone in the garden is consciousness. The cat, the dog, the horse are consciousness. Everything in the universe, in form or without form, is consciousness. Now, with human beings, you and me, we are limited in the expression of the consciousness. And as a consequence, we are not able to access greater degrees of consciousness that already exist, already present, ever present, omnipresent, everywhere. I'm going to attempt to give you an example. It's kind of new for me. I'm going to lean over to the side, and I would like you to have a look at the tuning fork. You tap the tuning fork, and it emits a frequency, a wave frequency. Consciousness is a frequency. It's more than that, actually. It's pure energy that exists in its purest form, and we are able to recognize it in its most subtle form of expression as a frequency. And then as it becomes grosser, more solid, we are able to see it in more solid forms of existence. But it originated as just pure energy that cannot be created or destroyed or even seen. Now, when you strike the tuning fork, the tuning fork emits a frequency wave. And that frequency wave is a representation of the consciousness of that tuning fork. Now, here's a thought for you. You and I are like tuning forks. And when we are able to find the means, the formula, what to do, what not to do, how to remove any obstacle that prevents us as a human tuning fork from emitting a frequency wave or many frequency waves, such as our thoughts, the energy from our heart center, the chakra, heart chakra, from our body. Our energy field goes out about 6 feet in a healthy person. This is a frequency. These are frequency waves. We are emitting frequency waves. We receive frequency waves, and the more consciousness we are able to utilize, access, the more frequency we are able to play with. The frequency of knowledge, the frequency of good health, the frequency of prosperity, the frequency of balance, the frequency of love, compassion, peace, harmony. It's all frequency. The lower now these are higher frequencies. The lower frequencies deprive us of all this, and instead give us that which is for our lowest good, that damages us: evil, ill health, the greed, the violence, the hatred, the dysfunction. As soon as we start to raise the frequencies, everything changes. I still maintain that meditation, a formal technique of meditation, is probably the single most powerful means to help raise the frequency. And I'm going to explain why. Consciousness is at that level of creation that precedes any physical form of any kind whatsoever. Now, this is interesting because when I learned to meditate, I used to spend a few years with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in the early 70s, and I became a teacher of the technique and the Siddhi program, and I spent a lot of energy, a lot of time learning, listening to this wise master, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And when you learn how to meditate, it is explained that the mind is described in symbolic form as a representation to be like the ocean. At the surface of the ocean, you've got the conscious thinking mind, and everything's bobbing around up there, and you're thinking, you're acting, and the ocean depth, the bottom of the ocean, is symbolically the depth of the mind. When you learn, you're given a mantra, you're given the technique how to use it, and you're sitting there repeating your mantra according to the prescribed technique. Immediately, you go from the surface of the mind and you start to dive. Yeah, my hands are going funny. And you start a journey that takes you to the lower regions of your mind, which is where the source of thought is. And then when you have the experience like I had today, where I went extremely deep and I just went to a different reality, I penetrate below the surface the bottom of the mind, like the ocean. And I actually penetrate into where consciousness resides, more or less. The source, more or less. And then when I come out of the meditation, I bring that consciousness with me. And today, because I brought with me that level of consciousness, and it was so subtle, so powerful, and my physical body still has sometimes difficulty in dealing with that low level, that high level of frequency, because my body, my frequencies fluctuate between higher and lower levels. And perhaps what's going on in my life at the moment, I was brought to a slightly lower level, and all of a sudden I experienced this meditation, and I'm sent to a higher level, and wow, my body is having difficulty to process this. But it's a good thing, because I'm getting used to a higher frequency again. And of course, enlightenment is when you become established in that higher frequency and you never leave it. And that's my intention, to experience that, to have that. Now, why would anybody want to go through to all this trouble meditating and developing consciousness? Well, it's a very good question, especially for people who experience success in their lives, and they make plenty of money, and they're flying high, and they've got so many things going for them. What they don't understand is, and I've made 2 fortunes and I've lost them both twice, that money, possessions, anything and everything in the physical world can be taken from us in the twinkle of an eye. I've experienced it, not only with money. The world of physical form is temporary. The Buddhists say this. It's all temporary, impermanent. So why would you put all your investments into something that's impermanent? It's like taking your fortune that you've worked all your life for, millions of dollars, and you go to a bank that's, could go bankrupt any time. And you could lose all your money. And it's happening all the time. Banks are going bankrupt. I mean, we are going to experience a financial collapse soon, as we are told, I'm told. With all that's going on, what's going to happen to the money? Nobody knows. So would it not then behoove us to put a significant investment into consciousness, that which never changes? It's permanent. And not only is it permanent, that when your time comes to leave the body and you move on to wherever discarnate souls go, you can take that with you. You can't take money or your Lamborghini, but you can take your consciousness. Whatever you have developed, you take with you. It's yours forever. And this is why I spend so much time urging everybody to develop more of their consciousness. And I'm using those words loosely, but you understand. Even the people who are doing so, like myself, and I'm not only talking to you and everybody else, I'm talking to myself. This video is helping to inspire me to do even more, to go further, to go deeper, 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 more, more. The time is now. The earth is, and the people, and the animals, and the planet, and the food, and the soil. We are all facing an existential threat, which may be devastating. It's already started to be devastating, and it may well be the final event After all, according to science, we've had 5 previous mass extinctions. So who's to say we're not facing the 6th mass extinction? The way we can prevent that, the way we can prevent the destruction of our planet, the destruction of humanity and everything to do with this planet, is to embody more consciousness, reflect more consciousness, develop more consciousness. And I urge you from the depths of my being to do what you can. And please don't say to me, well, you know, I'm very busy. I have this job and I'm so busy, I can't do this. If there is a depopulation, if there is a nuclear war, if this planet is destroyed, your job won't matter, will it? Forgive me for being so intense, but I want to be direct because the time is now. If we don't get it right now, well, I'm not going to say any more. If you feel you would like to discuss consciousness further, there's plenty of people. Listen to Eckhart Tolle on YouTube, Sadhguru, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, and the various other Buddhists who are all on YouTube talking about the 5 hindrances and the 8-fold path and the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. All this is helpful. And if you really don't know what to do, then communicate with me. I will be happy to share what I know with you. Without expectation, without any exchange, I just want to do it. This is my contribution. What's yours? Are you contributing anything into society? By developing your consciousness, you certainly are. And it's the best contribution you can possibly make. So on my website, on the contact page, just send me an email. So I'd like to know more about consciousness, or get into dialogue and I can ask questions. I don't know everything, but I know enough to provide you with more information so that you can go and do your own research. Again, I apologize for the intensity of this video, but it is of vital importance that I share this message. And I thank you for listening to me and joining me on this road less traveled. And I wish this road less traveled was the road most traveled. And we can all help do that by traveling that road of consciousness. Thank you for listening to me, and we'll meet again.